Hi everyone, it's really great to see you. I hope you enjoyed the Gospel Encounters message, Growing into Dependence. I just wanted to record a short video for you, which is just to go with the word to life that I'm sending out for us to look at over the next couple of weeks. Now, we looked at three scriptures. One of them was John 3, 1 to 6, Luke 18, 15 to 17, and then Matthew 18, 1 to 4. And these three scriptures I tried to tie together to really show that Jesus was using the analogy of a child to talk about coming into the kingdom and growing in the kingdom and just some of the elements of that. So we looked at four key principles. The first was obviously rebirth, being born again of the Spirit and the seed of Christ coming into us. And then the second was the need then to go through a process of relearning and relearning the kingdom principles instead of the principles of this world. And that leads to a reframing of the way that we view the world. We view how the world works, the past, the present, and the future of this world, but most importantly, our place in this world. In other words, the narrative, our story, and our part in the story. And then the fourth thing was relying upon God. And this was really where maturity is headed. The maturity of Christ is all about learning to live fully dependent on God the Father, just like Jesus did. So I've got some questions that I've set in the Word to Life, and I just wondered if you could spend some time going through those together as a group. First question is this: what are some of the changes which have occurred in you and others after being born again? So once that spiritual life came into you and you knew a new life, what changes occurred in you, both initially and sort of shortly afterwards? Be good just to talk about that. The second thing on relearning is, could you describe some of the principles of God's kingdom that you yourself have had to learn, and what impact and difference that's made in your life for you and for your family, your friends, for the people around you, the people who you influence, just relearning those kingdom principles. Thirdly, on the subject of reframing, I just wondered if you could describe how your view of the world has changed since becoming a believer. There's a scripture in Romans 12:2 where Paul talks about that process of our minds being transformed, a renewing of our mind, which transforms us as people. And I wonder if you could just maybe explain how you would think of the world differently now, how you would maybe explain your narrative of the world. A narrative is essentially a story of events, and all the time we are listening to other people's narratives. But actually, there's only one narrative that makes a difference, and that's God's narrative of your life. So I just wondered if you could maybe explain how that's changed for you, and whether you feel that there are narratives that have been imposed on you, maybe really from childhood onwards, that you have learned with God's help to reject and instead embrace the narrative that He's got for your life. And then lastly, on the subject of relying, I wonder if you could describe your journey of maturity so far in terms of learning to rely upon God. And I think this is perhaps one of the hardest things, because learning to implicitly trust God with every aspect and detail of our lives is something that we have to do all of our lives, and something that at times of stress and trouble becomes the hardest, doesn't it? That's a testing time, and it lays bare our relationship with God. How much do we really trust Him with the important things in our lives? So I hope those questions are going to bless you. I hope you're able to be open and vulnerable with each other in the groups and bless each other and encourage each other. Hope you have a good time. God bless.